Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Need I Say Myrrh, the Christmas podcast. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Adsum Ravenhill. Hello, Adsum.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, it's good to have you. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are? Who are you and where are you and what do you do?
So currently, I am standing in my office in Reading, overlooking a wonderful park out the back. And I'm a writer. I write primarily about theology, the literacy crisis that's currently kind of sweeping over the Western world, and also a smattering of other things. I've just finished a long series in Malachi, which was really, really fruitful.
Do you want to give a quick plug for where people can find your writing?
Yeah, you can find me at the Ravens Writing Desk, or on Twitter at AT Ravenhill. You just search Adsum Ravens Writing Desk, you'll find my stuff.
Yes. You don't have a very common name, so it's easy to find you if you search for you. So there we go.
Although Leonard will also come up.
Is Leonard a relation of yours? Not that you know of.
No, not at all. Although I get asked about once every 6 months, a reader will get in touch and go, "Are you related?" And I go, "No, but thank you."
I've never met any other. Not that I met Leonard, but I've never come across any other Ravenhills apart from you and him. There we go. One other question, just before we get into the questions I planned, and this may seem like an odd question, but there's a reason I'm asking it. With your beard, which obviously not everyone will be able to see because it's an audio podcast, but you do have a good beard. Let's just say that.
Thank you.
Do you do anything festive with your beard at Christmas?
I don't. Mrs. R does. Over the years, she's done a number of different things. She bought beard baubles one year, and those stayed in for much longer than I would have preferred. I think I've sprayed it a couple of times, either festive colours or white. I guess at some point I will probably do some kind of Santa-esque costume or something. But yes,
Mhm.
there have been a number of iterations.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking is because at the time of this recording yesterday I booked the annual Bridgend Pastors Christmas meetup at Toby Carvery, and last year John, one of the local pastors, came with the beard baubles. It was a good look, I thought. So I'm guessing then when I get to the question of what is your favourite Christmas decoration, beard baubles is not going to be the answer, but it's going to be something else. So what is your favourite Christmas decoration, Adam?
So I was chatting to Mrs. R about this before, actually. I think my favorite Christmas decoration are cards. I'm a big words of affirmation guy, and I often keep loads of cards that people give me in a box that I've got in our room. And it's not necessarily the best cards, but the best messages in cards. And I think that when people come into a house that is full of them, they love to go through and read what people have said. And so I always try and make sure that the ones that are really thoughtful and really personal take pride in place, even over potentially something huge or illustrious. Just a plain card with a really lovely message is always amazing.
Yeah, there's something special about a handwritten, thoughtful message, even something short, that means a lot, doesn't it? Do you have thoughts, though, on what makes a good Christmas card from an exterior point of view?
Yeah, so I think especially Christmas cards, I think aside from cards in general, I actually think that in today's day and age, a Christmas card with any kind of Christian message on it is so out there. My wife and I ran a Christian stationery company for a bit, and people came flocking to the cards specifically because there was something Christian about it. I think trying to put something in for the Old Testament, potentially from Isaiah or whatever, that's talking about the coming of Jesus is always interesting because people will ask questions about that. And so just getting the kids, even if you've got kids or maybe a family at church to put together some cards that might be quite quaint, but are Christian, I think that is stunning.
Definitely. Yeah, so we've got our church Christmas cards that we do every year that have details of our services in. And it is true that it's unusual now. You think of people who'd be receiving that for them, that may be the only Christmas card that has some kind of Christian, genuine Christmas message, if you like. So yeah, it's good to make the most of those opportunities. Yeah. I hadn't really thought about cards in terms of decorations, but yeah, I suppose they are decorations, aren't they? In a way. So you are allowed that answer. Next question. What is your least favorite festive food?
So I'm going to go really controversial on this one and say turkey.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm aware. But
Well,
I didn't live in England for a while, and so I didn't have turkey for a bit, and I kind of came back to it. And it does depend on who's cooking it. It can be more moist than others, but I just think actually I don't like turkey as a bird compared to others. I think goose or duck are so much better, and so that would be my preference. And yeah, turkey can be good, but can also be awful.
I definitely agree you can have bad turkey. I think all of us have experienced bad dry turkey, but I do also think you have invited some negative feedback from our listeners. And I should add, we do welcome correspondence for this podcast. If you get in touch at needisaymyrrh@gmail.com, that's needisaymyrrh@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of what has just been said about turkey. So you'll be going for like a goose or duck for Christmas, do you reckon?
I don't know whether I'll be doing the cooking this year, although it will be hosted here. I may do, but if you go to the supermarket and you're looking for animal fats, what are the animal fats that you think of? You think of beef dripping, you think of goose fat, and you think of duck fat. You don't think
Mhm.
turkey. So the duck and a goose already have that in them. They're already perfect. You cook it upside down for most of it, and then you turn it over to get it crispy at the end. Easy, bish bash bosh, all done.
We get on to Christmas Eve traditions then. Assuming they don't involve turkeys, you don't have the annual chasing of the turkey or whatever. What are your Christmas Eve traditions?
So I think what we are trying to get into doing, and we've had Christmas even in a number of different places recently, is kind of return to what I used to do. So as I mentioned before, I used to celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve in Germany because that's when it's
Mhm,
celebrated.
mhm,
And I celebrated it with a Polish family for a while, and we had loads of amazing Polish food. It was beautiful, lots of fermented stuff, as you can probably imagine, and kind of potato dumplings and stuff. And I would love it if actually, as we go into Christmas Eve in the future, especially when we have kids, hopefully, that we bring in some of those traditions, those kind of like things from abroad that we wouldn't necessarily think of. And also then sit down and pray for the church around the world, maybe think about where those foods have come from, and then potentially use prayers like from the Every Moment Holy books, if you've come across
mhm,
those, and
mhm,
just do that as a family. I also think that
mhm,
it's a prime time for worship, to just worship together ahead of what is going to come on Christmas Day. I think in an ideal world, I would love to do more worship on Christmas Day, but the reality of it is that most of the time you can't control what's happening on that day, and so
mhm,
pushing that back to Christmas Eve
mhm,
seems to make sense to me, and so that would be my ideal Christmas
mhm.
Eve. How will I do that? I don't know as yet.
Yeah, but that no, that's a helpful reflection, because yeah, for a lot of people, as you say, Christmas Day things are not so easily controllable, and especially if you're going to visit family, and it may be that some of us are spending family with people who aren't Christian, who aren't interested in making anything of the kind of spiritual reality of Christmas. So to actually make time on Christmas Eve to deliberately pause to pray, to worship, to seek God, to pray for the world and for ourselves. That's a helpful thought. And I think of for me, Christmas Day ending up being quite busy with church in the morning. Yeah, so to make more of Christmas Eve together as a family with our kids, that's something to think about, Adsum. Yeah.
What does Christmas morning look like for you as a pastor? So I know I'm not meant to be the one asking questions, but from a lot of people's perspective, everyone's trying to wrangle the kids to get to church on Sunday
Yeah.
or on
Yeah.
Christmas morning rather. But for you, that must be a little bit more involved.
Yeah, so you are messing with the format, Adam. Yeah, so Christmas morning, I think one of my things about Christmas morning, we have a service. Our service is 10 o'clock, so it's early than our normal Sunday services, but not too early, really. So sometime at the very beginning of the day, we are together as a family, and normally we read something from one of the Gospels. We'll read maybe Luke's account of the Christmas story, and then we'll open stocking presents together. So that's kind of starting the day together like that. And then I'll go over and go to the church building, get things ready for the service. And I like to make Christmas Day as easy for the rest of the congregation as possible because I will be there anyway because I'm kind of doing the service. So I want to make sure everything's set up that there's nothing else for people to do when they arrive, just to make it easier for other people who have other family commitments. So then I'll be over setting up practically and then preparing with prayer and going through my message and the service. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. And then after the service, again, I will be the person who locks up the building at the end and who picks up all of the bits of rubbish or whatever. So then it's kind of home for lunch. And every church minister will have a different kind of pattern, but it's a good service to lead. It's always a joy to lead it. So I've done every Christmas day while I've been here, and I'm happy to keep doing that. But it's still important to make time for family as well, because I suppose that would be the danger, as it often is with clergy families, that you can then make Christmas Day just about other people outside of the household. Yeah, no one else has asked me any questions yet. We come to our final question. What is your favourite Christmas carol?
My favorite Christmas carol, I think it counts as a carol, is O Come Emmanuel. And
Mm.
I think as much as, yes, it's probably more Advent than it is Christmas. I think I should preface this but with a thank you to you because I've really struggled with Christmas over the years. I spent a number of years not celebrating with anybody or having anyone to celebrate with, and Christmas wasn't necessarily the easiest time growing up, or even now. And so, even last year, this podcast really helped me actually to get into the Christmas spirit. It was a good short opportunity to come and think about Christmas, to just kind of listen to other people and how they're enjoying it, and that really helped me to enjoy it. And O Come Emmanuel played a similar role a few years ago where I was really struggling one day and our church was hosting a carol service and I didn't really want to be up there, so I was on the welcome team. But I had promised a friend of mine that I would come and listen to her sing O Come Emmanuel. And I went up and it was either a cappella or very, very light background music. And it was just beautiful. And I cried. And it just helped me that year to get into the Christmas kind of spirit, I guess. And so every year I try and make sure that of all of the carols and songs, that's the first one I listen to because I find it helps me to kind of dip my toe in the water. And unlike my wife, who will start listening to Christmas music in July, I'll start probably in about 10 days' time,
Mhm.
which for us recording will be the beginning of December.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. It's because yeah, the reality that our experiences of Christmas are all different, aren't they? And so for some of us, Christmas, for whatever reason, may be a hard time, or we find it hard to celebrate in the way that people around us celebrate, or that we assume they might be celebrating. But to have those ways that we can still remember the good news of Jesus coming and to kind of enter into those longings that we're longing for him to come back. And that means life now will sometimes be hard, but we know that he is coming again.
Absolutely. Amen.
And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Well, by the time this goes out, you would have started listening to Come Emmanuel, and hope that you've been finding it helpful. And I also hope that season two also helps you to celebrate Christmas this year.
I'm sure it will.
Well, hopefully. In any case, we hope that you have a very happy Christmas.
Thank you. And a Merry Christmas to everyone listening at home. Thanks, Adam, for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.